Well, guys, my name is Jacoby Swallow, and I'm a new owner of a 2015 Grand Cherokee Limited 3.6. I'll give y'all a image of what it looks like, but obviously, as you can tell, if you're on this video, you know what I'm doing. And I'm nearing the 100,000 mile mark, and we're doing the dreaded oil filter housing replacement. Instead of just gasket changes, might as well change the whole thing. And right now I'm kind of cleaning out all the excess. This isn't really oil right here, this is more the fluids that like the antifreeze, because it's my bad, I'm got some scars on my fingers and they're burning and I'm focusing, but so it's antifreeze cooled oil system. You can't see it, I chunked it out right there. I got the new one on the porch, but I was just trying to give you guys an overview of what to expect if you're gonna do this yourself. I do have a good bit of mechanical experience. I've rebuilt engines and, excuse, that was not the proper term to use, rebuilt engines and whatnot, but it's not really a hard job to do. It's, pretty straightforward. You take the top intake manifold, lower intake manifold, and yeah, there's right way to do it and a wrong way. I'm kind of half-assed doing it, leaving all my injectors still connected, fuel line, fuel rail, all that, it's still connected. I just got it elevated out the way, and you can pull them out, but I had issues trying to get the keeper to pop up on the injector, so it was like, you know what, it's not really bothering me, so I'll leave it like that. But I did remove the coil pack plugs just to get it out the way, free range access. The hardest thing for me to do is get this upper intake manifold, because you have these little, I guess, set screws that kind of sit into a frame. I slid it out this way, like this way and up, because it would have been hell to try to get that nut on the back side right here. You can't really see it. There's a nut right here that'll release this whole plate and get it out the way, so you may not have to come this way with it. You can go that way, but I didn't try that way. Instead, there's two brackets right here, and I just loosened the bolts enough to get the bracket, out the way off of the set screw, because these don't come out, so the bracket kind of sits on there and holds it down, because your main screws are on the intake part, and it's just kind of for stability, which, I don't blame them for doing it. It's a little headache if you're going to do it yourself, but like I said, it's two 1/2 inch 13 millimeter nuts, and you just run it out to where it'll fall out the way. Now you will have to run into these this harness. It's kind of plugged all into the side of that manifold and right here, so you got to kind of fight that out. And luckily I done some panel work, and I have one of the harness pin removers. I don't know what the fuck you would call that. I'm not a technician, I didn't name these parts, but you got to remove that, and then you got to do a little bit of bending. Now, don't bend this too much, but thankfully it's it's aluminum, so it'll bend fairly easy out the way, but don't push on it too much, just enough to where you can get your wrench down on that. Now, if you want to do it the right way, just ignore everything I'm saying and find a way to get to that firewall bolt back there, and find a way to properly remove AC compression. If you want it easy, but I'd probably save maybe an hour of work doing it like this. Granted, a couple, busted fingers and this one thing right here, yeah. But anyway, back to the main part. So it's not so much the oil that's sitting on the top. We got a lot of oil towards the back, but at first I thought it was a transmission leak, because it was leaking down the bell housing all over the back of the transmission. And I brought it into the Jeep dealership, and I'm like, hey, you know, it's covered under warranty. Let's check out this transmission. That's gross. Let's check it out. See why is it leaking. You know, I just got it. Blah blah blah. And then, you know, they come back to me. Well, it's not the transmission. It's actually the oil filter housing. And they're common for that. I looked up on all the forums, and obviously you did too if you're here looking up on how to do it yourself. But yeah, so instead of just changing the gaskets, I went ahead and I'm changing the whole housing. It wasn't maybe $200 for a Mopar, which, I mean, that's not bad. What killed me was the labor they were trying to charge me, because it's not a, my engine itself is covered under warranty. Everything to do with the engine, AC, that's a separate piece of warranty. But for some reason the top of this oil filter was not, and they tried to charge me about $1,000 to do it, and luckily I got the know-how and mechanical experience, my better half, to get the job done myself. So there's not too much to it. Like I said, just look out for the whole removal of the top intake manifold. I mean, yeah, the upper intake manifold. And they said you need some special screws to get the 6-7 bolts of the oil filter housing off, because they're 6-point. Just use a regular 6-point. It's like a star 6-point. It's not, you know, hex nut. Just use a regular 6-point 1/4 inch socket and it works just fine. Don't go out buying a special tool unless you want it, then you can go get it. But like I said, this was the main issue. I was trying to figure out how to get around it, and I spent maybe 10-15 minutes trying to decide whether I should take this back one off. Also, there is another nut back here. When you're doing it, don't think it's just this one that holds it on there. There's another one right behind it, right there. So yeah, fairly simple job. Should be done here shortly, and I'll be putting it all back together.